to give speech. So what I'll do is I just give a very, very quick talk about AI and software engineering. Because I know a lot of you probably will have some concern. What do you learn in the program? Do we still have value? Okay, so how this can help us, okay, in the new AI world. Okay, now the way I'm going to do it, I start a few questions. Okay, AI is coming, so AI presented unprecedented opportunity and also a lot of challenge. I'm using AI, I guess I'm going to say 70% of the work, what I do involving using some of the AI technology, AI tool. Okay, so I'm sure you all also use it. And number one, I'm not going to punish you if you use AI, do your work, because the idea is when you do your work, you will be able to do it. When you build your own software, right? You can do it. In school, we're not, the challenge is for professor. We need to create some problem, some question that even with using AI is still interesting. Okay, so that should be, we cannot say, oh, you use AI tool, you cheat. Okay, the way is, that's a reality. Okay, so we need to figure out a way to allow integration of AI. How we do it, we're still trying. Okay, we still don't know. Okay. Now, question number one, who can leverage AI better? Ning was talking about, I think it makes sense because the gap, because of AI, the gap of the top people and the bottom people gonna getting wider. The people who can utilize, leverage AI better, they're gonna be so far ahead than the people who cannot leverage and use AI better. So this, I think this is a common, I guess, understanding in the community. The CEO of ChatGPT gave a talk in Stanford. That's what he's talking about. What's new skills we need? We need skills that can communicate with AI, can understand the output of AI. Okay? Communicate means what? You learn how to ask basic stuff, how we ask questions, and you ask the right question, right? You remember when you're small, your parents said, learn how to ask the right question, teacher, ask question now. Yes, you really need to learn to ask the right question. But how do you ask the right question? Requires some skill. This is number one. Everybody agree. This will create the gap between the top one and the bottom one. Now, number two, in our setting, software development, we are in software business, right? So in software, how this is going to affect us, what does that mean? So we can actually ask the right question. So we can actually leverage the AI better in our setting. Yeah, I think overall, a solid software engineering background foundation is still the key. If you look at where we use AI now, in where we develop software, coding, right? Auto programming is very common. Automatically generate something test cases, right? Generate some document, and maybe create some test cases. Okay, and it's all kind of small pieces. Okay, but if you think about it, software development is not just about writing some piece of code, right? And if you look at it, even with DevOps, okay, so in my view, DevOps is the second most important development in software engineering in the past 20 years. Other than AI, we still don't know. But if you look at DevOps, it's still limited right now, at least, in most situations, is what? We commit code, then we deploy in the production, right? So we basically automate that part. How about the front? Okay, so we still know how to actually handle that, even though a lot of people are making effort, right? So, in my view, the people can leverage AI better in software engineering will be the people who have a good understanding in terms of the system. You have the system view. You have the architecture view. You still design. Okay? You have a process view. cannot replace teamwork. Because the software, more complex software is what? It's basically cross-functional team. Even in the development, even in the domain, because software become more and more complex. Software define everything. And that obviously not going to be changed. But you have good standing on those area. Well, I think you're going to do well with AI. You can ask the right question. Okay. And but obviously eventually where AI will lead to us, we'll find out. Okay. So because this, the cycle of the technology advancement in AI is so fast, right? Every few months, something amazing coming out. If they're going to replace us totally, hey, fine, then we're going to find something else. Right? So, or we don't work, just ask AI, make money for us. We don't need to worry that much. One thing I want to mention, more specific, how about the fuzzy front? This is a difficult thing about software development. Fuzzy front, the front part is fuzzy, right? How do we clarify this? In MSE, you learn a lot. You learn architecture, you learn requirement, product planning. How do I build a good product that can actually benefit people? And it's a learning process, because sometimes it's evolving. How are we managing that? How AI can help us do better? How AI will make change easy? Software development, the biggest problem is rework, right? Rework, the Six Sigma talk about doing things right first time, forget about it. In software, you don't do that because you don't know what's the right thing. The right slogan I always say how can we minimize unnecessary rework? Some rework is learning. Software engineering is knowledge engineering. It's very different than building any other product, right? You build this, we can build 1 million of this. The process developing this, all identical. In this process, the worker, they learn zero. No new knowledge. That's also engineering, right? That's also development. Software, have you ever had 2 projects go through identical process? Never. So that's different. So in software, when you build a software product, what happened? Very common in the beginning, you don't know everything. Do you know all the requirements? No, if you do, there's no requirement change. Are you sure the first design is the right one? Are you sure they are scalable? Right? Are you sure they are robust enough? Are you sure they can handle the real-time performance requirement, demand? I don't know. So in knowledge engineering, what happened? You do, you develop, you learn. You learn from what? From your mistake. Right? Sometimes you don't know. So that's why we have to reduce unnecessary rework. That's why we have the process. In something we already know, we make sure we do the solid stuff. We follow the good practice. Why? Because we want the future work easy. A lot of things you do now is not for now. It's for maintenance. And you make it easier for future you or for future team. You may be gone. And so this is kind of the important stuff. Fuzzy front. Now, in this process, if you understand this better, I think you can leverage AI better. How do we navigate through the uncertainty? Software, the interesting about software is a lot of things is uncertain. That's the nature of software process. Okay. And in software engineering, we're talking about this in the morning, right? Learning is constant. Software engineering is the learning engineering because you don't know everything. Don't you learn something in every project? If you learn, see, this is the one, I think Elon Musk had a very famous statement. If a project has no failure, that's a horrible project. Why? That means what? You learn zero. You didn't make any mistake. That means what? You know everything already. Okay, but in software engineering, one of the value, not just product, is the knowledge we generated when you build this. So what? You can apply this knowledge in the future, right? So why we do agile? What's the key? Because it's uncertain. We try to reduce rework, right? What's the key? We talked about it before. You learn this, all the classes, feedback. Okay. And also in software development in Agile, what we do, we try to apply feedback in next sprint. Right away. Learning, apply at the same time, you're getting better. In this process, I think AI gonna enhance the learning because we have all this knowledge. You know, what format, you know, how we actually can abstract. And I think AI can help us. If you understand the nature of software engineering, you can do better. If you don't know what question to ask. Okay, fuzzy front, I think that's going to be the key. The other part is obvious, everybody going to do. What's the separator? Okay, so this is one thing. Another thing is about teamwork and collaboration. Human nature, well, that's unknown. You know why? You know, so in team, every class has what? As a team project. What we try to do here, we try to simulate real work. Because no one going to build software by yourself. Teamwork means what? Can you listen? And so you're part of it. I don't know, you could be a tester. You could be a SA. You could be a product owner. It could be a project manager, right? So in meeting, you have people going to tell what they have done. You know, some of their work, output of other people's work will have an impact on your work. What do you do? What do you produce will have an impact on other people's work, right? You have to ensure have a good, right product. The product has value. Well, all of you need to work well together. Okay, so in this process, coordination, communication is extremely important. Why the hell we have to do document? You know, I know people don't like it, but sometimes you have no choice because that's how you communicate. You have to write it down. Okay, how detailed I needed to do that? I don't like it. I always say it depends on the reader's background. If they know everything, you can write simple. If they don't, you don't write tedious, you think you save money, you are not. Why? Because they're going to make a mistake. They misunderstood then, or they built something not what you want, you have to go back to it again. So maybe it's a good idea to clarify through document in the beginning. Sometimes we also know this document, I don't care how good documentation is, can never replace face-to-face communication. You still have to clarify. Why the hell they do the daily stand-up meeting? Because they find out, have a board, talk face-to-face is the most effective communication. Okay, so email is not. So this is important, but in this case, what's missing? How, we can use AI to enhance the things we don't do well. Okay? Yeah, I think this is important. Okay, this is an area we haven't, I don't think, we don't know how to use AI yet. Okay. And another thing is, how about, this is actually related to the measurement class, How about measuring outcome? How do we know if AI is doing the right thing, is improving? Okay, and that's still important. Okay, and so this is some of those simple questions. If you know the right way to answer them, I think gonna help you, in using AI in software engineering development, in software development setting. Okay? And obviously, learning, try, make mistake, totally okay. Just don't make the same mistake over and over again. Okay? Make mistake. You make the first. If you're a manager, I hope this is your style. If you're a member, try, make some mistake. It's okay. Hopefully they learn something from the mistake. But if they keep on making the same mistake, try a different work. Okay, so this is, I think this is important. How, obviously the final question is how AI going to change the way we build software development? I think there's still a big question mark. So I'm going to recommend, I don't know where I think I remember maybe a few months back, I need to find it. SolidWorks published, I think, a very interesting paper in the FinTech area for banking, insurance, software development, under the DevOps mode, development mode. They come up a way how to use AI. Is that like a very well-defined architecture? They identified 86 scenarios where they can apply AI. They also come out with like a short-term, mid-term, long-term deploy AIs in software development. So people are obviously, have been working on that. I know there's a company trying to build. Are you all familiar with UML use case? You know what's the goal of UML initially? IBM. They want to automate software development process. So people have been trying for a long time. Obviously, UML didn't work. The use case was okay, right? So we can model requirement, we can model design, we find out, hey, that can make our later job easier. Now, people, some company, I also know there's some company in China, and they try, make this effort again. With DevOps, obviously it's expanded DevOps. Okay, with AI, and they try to build some modeling, solving the fuzzy front, and try to basically make the whole software development process like automated. Some of you, I think last semester I have a discussion question. Remember the AI software engineer? At the time they make a big fuss, but apparently, obviously a lot of the publicity, but still, you can see a lot of companies try. And so what they try to do is basically automate this whole thing. Obviously, if they really can do that, and software development going to be fast and also cheap. Software eating the world. This is somebody asked. That was 20 years ago. A couple of years ago, they asked, "How come it's so slow? It is so slow." Okay, now they say AI-defined software. Maybe it can eat a little bit faster. We don't know the future, but don't be afraid. Okay, so there will always be new opportunities. So what we need is, what's the skill needed? I think for MSE, the way we set it up, I think, will be good in the AI community and in the AI age. Okay, because I think we try to set up the whole, as I mentioned in the very beginning, system point of view, system view, framework view, end-to-end process view, architecture view. Okay, and also obviously the quality view. Okay, so I think those things, hopefully will be good for the AI age. Okay, so I think that's what I'm gonna share, and also maybe okay, where do I stop?